So, like I said, for a while there, I'm not transnational cult leading, but I'm still a transnational cult leader. So, this happens occasionally. Occasionally, someone who's in a position of command will not do it, and yet they remain in command. Now, how this is handled in nation states, in churches, cults, and other world changing outfits is usually the person down a notch, the person down two notches. They effectively become the leader. If it continues for a long enough time that the person who's actually in charge isn't doing the charging, he becomes a spiritual leader. And then that becomes very dangerous because if he's not out there actually talking to people, the persons below him can basically just say, your spiritual leader said this, your spiritual leader said that, and there's no way to check on it. So, when you're running a cult, you got to stay on top of it if you actually want to run it. Now, my cult dad, my biological father, Lyndon LaRouche, he presented himself as if he was a leader, but he was actually a lackey and a follower his entire life. And I don't say that to insult the man, though I am trying to bring down his reputation a little bit within our organization. You see, Lynn was not the most exceptional person in his organization. How the organization worked was other people would come up to Lynn and they would convince him that they were right about something. So Lynn's not doing the thinking, he's doing the checking. He's saying, your idea is good enough. Your idea accords with the spirit of my life. And that's how the cult was organized. That's how the ideas entered into it. And that is how the cult moved across the political spectrum. It wasn't that all these people were following Lynn across the political spectrum. They were dragging him along with them. Now, how am I the leader of this organization? 2 reasons. The first reason, the most important reason, is Lynn said it. Lynn wanted 2 other people to be the leader of the cult. I came to the succession meeting. I told Lynn, they can't be. Only I can save you. Only I can save your legacy. And then I showed him a whole series of proofs of that. So it wasn't really the time to make a leadership bid, and yet I had to because I didn't have any more time left to wait. Now, how did the second feature happen? Well, the second feature happened when Lynn said, okay, these other people, they wanted to continue to fight. And that's when I started to realize Lynn ain't really in charge of this. Lynn ain't really the brains behind this thing. So what I did, because I'm not a fucking coward, is I went one by one and I told every single person who had brought an idea to Lynn that they were wrong, except for the guy who said ditch to Lake Chad's good, except from the guy that said music good. Now, I qualified everything. I said, yeah, you're right about music being great, but all music is great. And it didn't take that much to persuade him that all music was great, because Lynn was the guy who didn't like rap music. Lynn's the guy that doesn't like modern music, not the musicians within our cult. Now, when it came to fusion, what I said is, now I'm not going to be able to give you the whole story of our fusion project. An intelligent person should be able to piece together what we've actually been able to use fusion for. But what we haven't been able to use fusion for is powering cities. And because of the world and the way that it's structured, I don't think that'll happen for another 10, 15 years. But back then, I didn't think that would happen for another 50, 60 years. And since it's always 50 or 60 years away, I said, look, guys, we got this amazing thing that's just shining energy down upon the planet Earth. It happens, if you look out there and check it out, it happens to be an enormous fucking fusion reactor. Bigger than Jupiter, bigger than Saturn, bigger than Saturn and Jupiter combined. You throw Earth on top, it's still bigger. You throw everything in the solar system on top of it, it's still much bigger. I said, I don't know how to make those yet, but they're up there already. I see them every night. I see thousands of those bad bitches in the sky. and I know one of them at least is really close by. And since fusion will take all of the money that I mined, I'm not going to put my money in it, because I think that should be a responsibility of China. That should be a responsibility of the United States of America. You motherfuckers figure out how to power cities with fusion. I'm just going to install solar panels literally everywhere I can, because it turns out there's a free fusion thing in the sky. And I went through all of our ideologies and projects in this manner, saying, good idea, the outcome that you want is the right outcome, and I believe in you, but you're wrong. And you're wrong in this way, and we're going to do it this other way. And I did that for the fact that nation states use offshore tax havens and dealing drugs to fund covert ops, to which I said, I don't see any other way they could fucking do it. I don't think it's our business. To things as diverse as should we institute a new money economy. Now, before the succession meeting, I had already taken part in the introduction of a new global monetary system. And by the time of the succession meeting, I was fairly cynical about our achievements in that regard. That is to say, after a few years of watching Redditors and crypto billionaires use their new money system to support human trafficking and narcotics and arms trade, I thought, I'm glad I gave that money away. The thing that I helped build is a blight on the planet Earth. So I didn't, double down on that. I wasn't telling them at the succession meeting, here are my regrets in life, but I was telling them, look, we're not going to shut down Goldman Sachs, and the reason why we're not going to do it is, for whatever reason, Goldman Sachs, which is filled with nothing but greedy fucking investment bankers, Goldman Sachs is actually doing God's work, or at least if they went away, Satan would be a lot stronger. So that was hard for them to hear and accept, but I did it because I'm Lynn's kid, and I just didn't shut the fuck up. I kept telling them that they were wrong until they admitted it. So that's how I seized charismatic authority of the organization, and they, of course, want to wiggle their way out of it. They, of course, want to jockey for position and influence. So to the boomers, I basically said, go do your own shit. Keep doing what you're doing. I have another plan, but I will be your fan. I will support you as much as I can. But I'm going to run this through the kids. I'm going to run this through the people that are younger than 60. And that's what I've been doing as both a spiritual leader and occasional coordinator and maker of things. I'm currently operationally in command. Currently, people will do exactly what I say. And because of that, I do very little. I am very afraid of leadership. I am very afraid of large sums of money. And yet I can't be, because I'm leading people. So what I do is I rely on William, I rely on Yana to do a lot of that. And I am there to say no, and I am there to say, let's try this other thing. And that's how an organization should work. Don't consolidate power entirely into the hands of one man. That's insanity. When we were in Rome, we had 2 kings. We had 2 elected kings, and they didn't stick around very long, only a year. Now, back in the day, that's about all it took to create projects, to do things that are substantial, introduce new laws. In our modern world, it takes 2, 3, 4, 6 years for legislators to even know what the fuck they're doing, let alone actually bring projects into existence. And administrations in 4 years are barely able to do anything at all. They need about 8. They need to be reelected, which does slow down their work in the first 4 years. So, generally speaking, a multitude of leaders is not a good thing. Mr. Herodotus was right about that. And yet, it should not be concentrated in one man. It should not be concentrated in one king. A small number of leaders is a good thing. 2 or 3 leaders is a good thing. 2 is very stable. 3 is unstable. If you want a dynamic, changing outfit, you set up a triumvirate. If you want a conservative outfit, you set up a dual monarchy. Now, in the United States, we have a dual monarchy. We have a president and a vice president. In Sparta, they had 2 kings. These are the prominent examples: Rome, Sparta, the United States. And what you should know about those 3 places is that they were very manly, very important, very capable of handling their affairs. There have been few empires managed better, and a lot of it comes down to the fact that they had 2 or 3 at various times leaders. Now, another thing that you need to do is you need to divide the roles within your organization. You should have an executive branch, you should have a legislative branch, and you should have a judicial branch. That is to say, in your organization, when people have complaints, they should go to one person. When they have ideas for what should be done, they should go to another person. And if they have ideas as to how the organization should be structured, they should bring it before a committee, a conference, an assembly, a legislature. That is how things are done, and that is how things will be done in my organization. Now, in a corporation, the people who deal with complaints are HR, the people who manage things are the CEO, and then the people who decide the rules of the organization are the board of directors. And with my organization, the 3 people who are operationally in command, me, Yana, William. The people who deal with complaints are appointed by Yana. Go talk to Yana. She's my opposite. She's in charge of the complaint structure within this call. She makes sure that none of it reaches me because I overreact. I find out that you guys are squabbling, I'll come there and literally hit you with sticks. I'll literally make you behave. And she knows that, so she won't let me know about your grievances with each other, your grievances with me. You complain, you gossip, it goes up and up and up. It reaches Yana. She doesn't really give a shit. She hears you guys feuding and complaining. She just laughs and tells me nothing about it. I think that my cult has total harmony because Yana protects me from knowing that you guys have criticism, opinions of your own, etc. I use William for organizational work in terms of our rules, in terms of what are we going to do in this situation. He comes up with good drafts. He comes up with good lists of things that we should be focused on. And then Yana and I look at it, we have a short meeting, we make decisions. That's how the cult and the cult is run.